Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you are preparing for UGC NET education or if you are simply interested in education and social change, then you are in the right place. In today's video, we are going to explore the life and educational philosophy of one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century, Paulo Freire. He was not just a philosopher of education, but also a strong advocate for justice, equality, and human freedom. We will learn about his background, core ideas, aims of education, role of teacher, methods of teaching, and finally, his contribution to education for social change. I will explain all these points in a very simple words so that even the most complex ideas can be understood easily. And before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends who may also find it useful for their preparation. Now let's begin. So who was Paulo Freire? Paulo Freire was born on September 19, 1921 in Recife, Brazil. He grew up in a middle-class family, but during the Great Depression, his family suffered extreme poverty. This experience shaped his deep understanding of hunger, inequality, and injustice. Freire studied law, philosophy, and the psychology of language, but he chose the path of teaching and working with poor communities. He believed that education should not only focus on reading and writing, but also on consciousness, awareness of one's social and political reality. His most famous work, Pedagogy of the Oppressed 1970, became a guiding text for teachers, activists, and policy makers worldwide. In it, he explained how education can either maintain oppression or become a tool for liberation. Freire spent much of his life working in Latin America and also in Africa, where he helped design literacy programs. He died in 1997, but his influence continues to inspire educators and reformers across the world. Now, let us look into the core principles of his philosophy. Paulo Freire's philosophy is based on the idea that education is never neutral. It either serves to dominate or to liberate. Some of his core principles include conscientization, which is critical consciousness. Education must help learners become aware of social, political, and economic injustice. Learners should question inequality instead of accepting it blindly. Next, dialogical method. Teaching should not be one-sided. Instead of a teacher depositing information into students, what he called the banking model of education, he promoted dialogue, where both teacher and students learn from each other. Next, education as liberation. So true education empowers people to challenge oppression. It makes learners active participants, not passive receivers. Next, praxis, which basically means knowledge must lead to action. Students should not only think critically, but also take steps to bring positive change in society. Now, let us look into the aims of education. For Freire, the main aims of education is not just to teach literacy or knowledge, but to develop critical awareness and the power to transform society. So the aims of education according to him include to help people understand their reality and question systems of injustice, to develop freedom, dignity, and responsibility in learners, to prepare learners for active participation in democracy, to replace rote learning with creative and reflective thinking, to connect learning with real-life struggles like poverty, inequality, and discrimination. So, in simple words, for Freire, education is about awakening minds and empowering hearts. Now, let us move on to the role of teacher. According to Freire, the role of the teacher is not just to act as an authority who knows everything. Instead, the teacher should be a facilitator of dialogue who creates a classroom environment where students feel free to ask, question, and reflect. The teacher is a co-learner because in Freire's philosophy, both teacher and student learn from each other. The teacher is a guide who helps learners connect their classroom learning with their lived experiences. The teacher is an activist educator because the teacher must encourage learners to take action against injustice in their communities. So, in short, the teacher must humanize education and treat learners with respect, not as empty vessels to be filled with information. Now, let us look into the methods of teaching. Freire rejected the banking model of education, where teachers deposit knowledge into students' minds. Instead, he supported problem-posing education, which is interactive, where students and teachers discuss real problems of life and society. Experiential. Learning happens through experiences, not just textbooks. Next, dialogical, which basically means knowledge is built through conversations and reflections. Next, action-oriented. Education must encourage students to take real steps to improve their communities. So, according to him, the school should not be an isolated institution. It should be a place of dialogue, social awareness, and transformation. Now, finally coming to his contribution to education for social change. This is where Paulo Freire made his great contribution. For him, education was not simply about literacy or passing exams. It was about social change and human liberation. He thought that oppression is maintained when people remain silent and unaware. So, education must break this silence. He showed that literacy is a political act. Teaching someone to read is not just about letters, but about enabling them to read the world, to understand injustice, and to transform it. His method of education has been used in adult literacy programs, community development, feminist education, and even democratic movements worldwide. In India, many alternative education movements and NGOs have drawn inspiration from Freire's ideas to fight illiteracy, caste discrimination, and gender inequality. His vision of education for social change was to awaken critical consciousness so that people can build a more just, equal, and democratic society. So, learners, this was Paulo Freire, an inspiring thinker who believed that education is not about filling minds, but about awakening them. His philosophy teaches us that real change in society begins with education that empowers, questions, and transforms. I hope you found this video helpful for your NET preparation and also for understanding education in a broader sense. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends who may find it useful. Together, let's spread knowledge and make learning simple and meaningful. Thank you for watching.